bearing of the gods, and to assert yourself. For this I have employed the greatest of the Greeks, or what became of him.
Hi folks, Casual Dad here with another recording stream, and just a game recording. In honor of the announcement of Hades 2, this seemed like an appropriate time to do my love letter to Hades. Hades is... I still can't get over how good this game is, and it's not just good in any one category either. The artwork is beautiful, the gameplay is incredibly tight, no glitches or bugs whatsoever. The story is shockingly wholesome for such a dark setting. And the gameplay is just fantastic. So really, I just absolutely love playing this game. I held off picking it up for a long time because it is a roguelike, where you progress through a semi-random dungeon over and over again, and every time you do that run, you get more powerful throughout it, but when you die, you lose that progression and have to start over. But it's also a roguelite, in that there is some progression, mostly story, but then also your abilities, that improves consistently throughout the game, and so every time you start a run, you are a little bit more powerful with some more abilities unlocked each time. So it does get easier as you play it, which is unusual for a roguelike, but really, really adds to it. And again, the thing about it is just that it's so good in every category. Everything works together so beautifully, and I don't even know how Supergiant Games did this. They just absolutely knocked it out of the park. So there's just this feeling the whole time where like the emotional high exactly matches your progression in the difficulty of the game and getting through the runs, and then that all just lines up in this beautiful like crescendo that you end up riding for months. I've been playing this game for almost 2 years now, and I still can't stop playing it, even though I've basically completed all the progression I know of. I have all the achievements. I just keep jumping in. So I'm going to do a quick short run of the first area, just so you can see that real quick. It takes about maybe 10 minutes. And you'll just see how the gameplay works, how pretty it is. You'll see some of the dialogue moments, and the entire dialogue from every single character is fully voiced with some really excellent voice actors. So, absolutely terrific. Let's hit it. Da 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 da. And this is only a little bit above the base difficulty that you're going to see if you start out the game from scratch. And I'm going to try to avoid too many spoilers, so you won't see much. But there are a couple minor spoilers, so I would definitely try not to pay attention to any of the small details if you are planning on picking this game up, which I still recommend. Especially with a sequel coming out, there's no better time to experience the original. There's some great mods out there. It's just really fantastic. And a shout out to the upcoming sequel. If we all kind of pitch in and pick up the original, that would be a nice nod that they're on the right track to reward them for all the hard work. Because this is just an exceptionally done thing. It's as much a work of art as a video game can be. And sorry for the frantic clicking, it is kind of that game, so you're going to hear a bit of that. I'm working on my sound setup to improve that a bit. And again, I've been playing for about 2 years, so you'll see that this is... The difficulty is a little bit higher because you can increase the difficulty to get more rewards in the late game. I'm not going to spoil how that happens. Or why. But, so what you're going to see is also a little bit above the kind of play you're going to do at the beginning, but I've played enough that I'm used to these enemies, and so I sort of understand their movesets and how to counter them, and that really makes a big difference, surprisingly so, where if I were to start a game over, I would probably progress significantly more quickly, I hope, than I did the first run. And you can see every time I'm leaving a chamber, the doors that I'm going through offer you different awards, and that can completely, well, if there's more than one door. Poor timing to mention that. And that can shape your run and your progression, so a lot of players who speedrun this, or run it later, will try to get specific rewards so that you get specific builds. And now I've started with Aphrodite, goddess of love. This is all Greek themed, so of course that makes sense. Yeah. And so I'm looking for more Aphrodite boons, which are the upgrades you get throughout the game, or things that will combo well with her ability. And there's a lot of stuff that stacks up. All the boons you can get have different rarities, and they impact different attack types. So you've got just your basic slash, and you have different weapons that are unlocked throughout the game too. But this is the base sword that you start with. I wanted to go ahead and introduce that with the introduction to the game. But, so you've got your basic attack, you've got your dash, which can also be a dash attack, and there's both a dash attack and then also the dash, both can be upgraded by boons. You've got a cast, which is your sort of magic spell, Then you have a special, which I always forget how to do. We'll get there. Obviously, I don't use the special very much.
Here again.
But that's on me. The special is extremely powerful, especially it's different weapon by weapon. And the weapons themselves can be permanently upgraded or changed to get different sort of traits and abilities unlocked with them. And that's part of the progression you get that stacks as you play the game. That doesn't reset each time you restart a run. Likewise with some of the rewards. Gold is only for the run, but darkness, those crystals I keep getting. Like I said, you've got your attack buffs, you got your special buffs, and then you've got just random buffs. I'm going to go, the knockback is nice, but we're not going to do that. That darkness, that dark crystal I keep getting is one of the things you can use to upgrade your abilities long term. So there's a whole stack of abilities that you can unlock. There are 2 options in each slot. I want to say there are about a dozen slots, and those you keep run to run. And so you can get significantly more powerful as the game goes on. If you do start the game, you'll notice my health bar is quite a bit higher than the base. I'm doing a little bit more damage here. I'm a little dodgier, more resistant to damage. These are all things that you get just as you complete runs and complete through the story. Note there are traps on the floor that I can trigger, but I can line them up so that the enemy is the one who takes the hit. You may have noticed in that boss fight, which that last chamber was a mini-boss, and even this guy's got that skull icon on his health bar, because he's a mini-boss. I guess this guy's a micro-boss, because this isn't technically a boss chamber. And you see his health bar is yellow, because he's got armor, he's a little tougher than your run-of-the-mill enemy, and hits a little harder, but mostly just takes more to bring down. You can barely hear it on this, but the music is also wonderful too, and really captures the, captures the game. It's got a very thematic look and changes, or a very thematic feel and changes based on the region you're in the underworld, because there are different areas. You're seeing me run through a single one, but there are 5, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong there. There's at least 4, somewhere between 4 and 5. Different regions with different enemies and different themes that represent the different levels of the Greek underworld. And if you were at all like me, and see, even there, like, that was a little glitch that's easily missed in a lot of games, where the reward appeared just out of reach where I wouldn't be able to get it, and you saw how it just slightly adjusted to be where I could reach it, just automatically. Didn't even pause, or didn't have that moment where I couldn't get it. And that's the kind of tightness I love about this game. Like, there's no incident I've run into where I wasn't able to do something I'm supposed to be able to. Like, no glitches with hitting enemies, nothing. It's insane. And I mean, it's been out for a while, but still, that's, long-term support that I appreciate from a game developer. Like, they really cared about what they were doing here. I'm hoping to get some boons that affect my cast, so you can kind of see how that changes. So far, I've just got my sparkly pink sword, which does extra damage. There it is. That's my special. Had my fingers all mixed up. Bump-a-da-bump-a-da-bump-a-da-bump. But one of the great things that I really love about this game, and something I probably mentioned a little bit before, is that it's you can do a full run, start to finish, in about 25 minutes, give or take, which is pretty awesome. And to be able to get this kind of very satisfying gameplay that's consistent every time, that's enjoyable every time, in that 20-minute block is absolutely amazing for an adult gamer. And it doesn't affect... Little spoilers there. Here's the boss at this level. It doesn't affect your story progression, nothing. You can, any time in a chamber, you can quit and it'll save your progression. So even if you don't finish your run in your time, something comes up, you get interrupted, you don't lose your progress. Which again is also pretty unlike a roguelike. But that's one of the things that keeps me away from roguelike games, is that they're so punishing. And this one still has that element while, you know, realizing that life is life and you don't have time to always complete your run. You don't want to completely waste it. Also, again, just the story rewards and the progression rewards just make it that much more worth playing through. And the challenges, the achievement challenges, really are pretty satisfying. Once you play a bit, you're like, I wonder what happens if I get XYZ. And that will reward you for considering that and trying it out.
She wasn't very nice.
Boom. So that was the first region. I'm going to go ahead and open the... No, I'm not going to spoil that. Never mind.
Your progress has been duly noted, boy.
So that was the first boss chamber. That was the first area you get through. And that can take a little while to get past that boss because, again, you do start the game considerably weaker than you were seeing here. So yeah, that is my love letter to Hades. One bonus thing, if you do want to get into this, it is a very challenging game. If you're very serious about that and just love the challenge, you know what? Go for it. If you just want to see the story progress and see the whole game in a more efficient time scale without blowing as much time on it, under your settings panel there's an option called God Mode, which I already have on here. There's no tooltip, well, there is a tooltip that tells you about it after you die a few times, but no one really talks about it, it doesn't come up. You can turn that on, and then every time you die, you get a stacking 2% damage resistance. So over time, as the difficulty of the game ramps up, you also have become more durable at an equivalent level, unless you just died a lot. But it's really, really nice to be able to get to the higher levels of progression, get through the whole story with a little bit less frustration. So I do recommend, unless you're taking this in the most serious way where you just want to get beat up, turn on God Mode early, just to try it. And you can turn it off at any point, that'll completely remove it. I don't know if you turn it off and then back on if you keep the same bonus, I'm honestly not sure. But yeah, that's there. It's a really nice perk and a way to get through the game and really experience it fully. And I will say that it's 2% per death, so it still is a pretty slow ramp up, and you'll only notice after quite a while that it's really significantly helping you. So somebody's probably going to call me out on that, but oh well. So yeah, Hades 1, spectacular game, absolutely beautiful. Hades 2 is coming out for early access sometime, and I'm really, really excited for it, so I wanted to go ahead and talk a little bit about how much I love Hades 1 before getting into it. So give it a try. It's on Steam. I believe it was recently on Xbox Game Pass, but just left, but should be back at some point. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you want to see some more Hades. I may at some point do a bit-by-bit story stream where I start a brand new game. Drop me a comment if you want to see that. Thanks. Until next time.